All right, so today we're really digging into three specialized Linux distros built for gaming: Bazzite, Nobara, and CachyOS. Our goal here is, well, pretty simple. We want to break down how they actually work differently, the trade-offs involved, and help you figure out which one might actually be the right choice for your setup. Okay, let's unpack this.
What's fascinating here, and you really have to start here, is looking at their foundations. So Nobara and Bazzite, they're both built on Fedora.
Okay, Fedora. Stable, right.
Generally, yeah. Think slower updates, but they're usually pretty solid because they've been tested thoroughly. Stability is kind of the key word there. CachyOS, though, that's a different beast. It's based on Arch Linux.
Ah, Arch. Rolling release.
Exactly, rolling release. So you
Yeah.
get software updates almost immediately, like truly bleeding edge stuff. But, and this is the trade-off, you're potentially giving up some of that stability that might require a bit more hands-on work sometimes.
That trade-off really shapes things, doesn't it? And when you look at how they're built, the architecture, they go in really different directions. Nobara, for instance, that's more of a classic approach, you could say. It's RPM-based, like Fedora, but heavily modified.
Yeah, it's all about convenience. Point and click.
Right. It comes preloaded with a ton of stuff gamers or streamers would want, media codecs, Wine, OBS is in there, NVIDIA drivers too, all set up.
Which sounds great, and for many people it is. But there's a potential catch we saw mentioned.
The development team size.
Yeah, exactly. Nobara seems to rely quite heavily on, well, maybe just one main developer, Glorious Egg Roll. So if you're building your whole system around it, you're kind of banking on their continued work and vision. There's a bit of a, let's say, bus factor risk there.
That really highlights why Bazzite's approach is so interesting, because it completely flips the script. It's immutable.
Right, immutable. It's designed to mirror that Steam Deck experience.
So the core OS is locked down. You can't easily mess it up.
Pretty much. The main operating system image isn't meant to be changed easily while it's running. That makes it incredibly robust.
Okay, so updates are safer then.
Much safer. If an update causes problems, rolling back to the previous working version is usually straightforward. But it does change how you install extra software.
Flatpaks mainly.
Almost exclusively, yeah. Flatpaks are containerized apps, so they run sandboxed and don't touch that core OS. Keeps everything clean and stable.
And then there's CachyOS, Arch-based but user-friendly install.
Yep, it uses a graphical installer, Calamares, so you skip the traditional Arch manual setup, which can be intimidating.
But its main thing is performance, pure speed.
Absolutely. It's heavily tuned, custom kernels, really aggressive compiler optimizations.
Like those by 8664 v3 flags you hear about.
Exactly. Targeting modern CPUs specifically to squeeze out every last drop of performance.
So, going back to the Arch base, does that mean things break often? Do you need to be a Linux guru?
A guru? Probably not. But maybe a bit of a performance nerd, like you said. Someone who doesn't mind tinkering occasionally. You get amazing responsiveness, sources mentioned, noticeably snappier mouse input, likely due to those real-time kernel tweaks. But yeah, with rolling releases, you do sometimes need to check things after a big update.
So if raw FPS and lowest latency is your absolute top priority, CachyOS seems like the winner there, but with that maintenance caveat.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this. For the listener, what's the real-world takeaway? If you just want something that works out of the box, especially for streaming, Nobara seems like a really balanced choice. Reports said it ran Proton games quite smoothly, too.
Yeah, makes sense. And for that console-like experience, maybe on a big TV with a controller.
Then Bazzite really shines. That immutable core gives you that rock-solid reliability, very much like a console or the Steam Deck itself.
Okay, before anyone rushes off to install these, a really critical point. Secure boot.
Yes. Usually, you'll need to disable Secure Boot in your BIOS or UEFI settings first, just for the installation. You can often re-enable it afterwards, but check the docs.
And dual booting with Windows. Always tricky.
Always. First, definitely turn off Fast Startup in Windows.
Yeah.
That's crucial, otherwise you risk file system corruption. And specifically for Nobara, dual booting on the same drive as Windows isn't really recommended.
Why that?
The default Windows EFI partition is often too small, apparently. And Nobara needs a bit more space there to play nicely with Windows Boot Manager. Best to use separate drives if possible.
Good tip. And sadly, we still have to mention anti-cheat, right?
Unfortunately, yes. For some big multiplayer games, especially ones like Valorant, with aggressive kernel-level anti-cheat, you're likely still stuck with Windows for now. That applies across the board, regardless of the Linux distro.
So connecting all this back, it seems like you have a clear choice depending on your priority.
Pretty much. CachyOS if you crave maximum speed and don't mind occasional tinkering.
Nobara for the easiest setup, especially if you stream or just want things to work smoothly.
And Bazzite if you want that super stable appliance-like Steam Deck experience replicated on your desktop PC.
Yeah. It's that Bazzite model, aiming to mimic the Steam Deck OS, that feels really significant.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you see this trend towards immutable, image-based systems like Bazzite, even for high-performance desktop gaming. It really makes you wonder, are we watching the desktop gaming PCs slowly evolve into something more like a very powerful but much more robust and stable console?
Trading some flexibility for that rock-solid, almost maintenance-free stability.
Exactly. It's definitely something worth thinking about for the future of PC gaming.